Finding your purpose. People are decking the halls, and 'tis the season for great movies.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Good morning. It is Friday. Woo woo. We made it to the weekend. Happy Friday. I hope you're going to have a cocktail later because you know what it is. It is Cocktail Friday. Friday, November 22nd, 2019, day 71 of Gotta Get on Ellen. So I had book club last night. That means I actually left the house after dark, which I rarely ever do. And you'll never guess what I found. Christmas lights abound. Yes, a lot of people are already decorated for Christmas. So I'm not the only freak. I think part of it is the fact that Thanksgiving is a week later this year than it typically is, just the way that it falls on the dates this year. So we actually have 1 week less between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. In fact, yesterday, my Facebook memories, it was Thanksgiving last year. Maybe not last year. I don't know, but I remember seeing in some of my memories, saying, talking about people cooking and doing the turkey and happy Thanksgiving and all of that kind of stuff. So I am not the only one who has already decorated. Did I tell you what my husband said? I'm not sure if I did or not. Of course, we did the inside of the house last weekend, and it was really cold and windy last weekend. So I had wanted to do the outside as well. And then he's like, why don't we just wait until after Thanksgiving and then everybody won't think that we're a freak. Since when do we worry about what people think? That's not what we do. But like I said, there was quite a bit of bright lights and shiny decorations when I was driving through the neighborhood in the dark last night. We had a book club, like I mentioned, and we had read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And I had read this book about a year or so ago, and it is a really good book. Another book about World War II. All of the great books are about World War II, which is also so heartbreaking at the same time. But this one's so well written. And another book by Kristen Hanna that I really, really loved was Night Road, and I was talking about that. And so the person who is hosting next month, because the person who hosts gets to pick the book, picked that book. So now I feel like all this pressure that not only does the host like the book, but everybody likes the book, because even though it's not my turn, I kind of picked the book, I have so much reading to do. It is insane. I have all of these business books that I ordered, which is fine. I purchased a couple of them so I can put them off to the side and wait until I have the time. But there's some that I have through the library that I have to finish. One of them I started out loving, but now, and somebody had said this, it's getting a little repetitive. So I think I'm going to put that down for a little while. And meanwhile, I've gotten 2 novels that I've been waiting months for the e-reader from the library. And both of them came in this week. So one of them is the latest John Grisham, and another one is yet another Kristen Hanna book called Firefly Lane. So I was going to read Firefly Lane, but then when I got home last night, I realized that my John Grisham book came in. Now, I can read a John Grisham book in a day, sometimes a day and a half. But so I figured, and I love John Grisham. I know people say he's very commercial and this, that, and the other thing. He has very interesting material, and it's a quick read. It's just the kind of books I don't want to put down. So I thoroughly enjoy them. If you want to think I'm a lesser reader for it, go right ahead. So I started that last night because I always had to read a little bit before I fall asleep. So I started that last night because I know I can get through that book just like that. And since all these books are on these long waiting lists, most of the time I can get a book for 3 weeks, but these books they've only loaned me for 2 weeks. So I'll get through this one, and then hopefully throughout the weekend I'll start and finish The Firefly Lane. And like I said, I have a bunch of books, business books or personal development books. I just got the actual hard copy book from the library, so I have that until I think the 11th of December, so I've got some time. But Trent Shelton, The Greatest You. I've talked about Trent Shelton. I saw him at my conference, and really, really good speaker. So this looks like a pretty quick read as well, so I'm looking forward to digging into that. So I am pretty much just dedicating this weekend to reading. Just reading. I've been a little bit on information overload the last week or so since my conference. So I have a list of things that I'm going to do today. Then a friend of mine is coming over. We're going to have a couple of Cocktail Friday drinks to celebrate the weekend. And then I'm just going to give myself off the weekend. I'm sure I will do a little work here and there because that's what I do, which is fine. But, yeah, I'm just going to dedicate my weekend to reading all the books. The Eagles will play on Sunday. I'm not really hopeful about the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. The Eagles and the Giants play at the same time, which doesn't really happen as often as you think it will. The Eagles were originally supposed to be playing Sunday night. They moved it to 1 o'clock. I wish they would have moved it to 4 because we typically go out when both teams are on at the same time, but we're not really in a position to do that right now. We do have the new television that Joe's going to be putting up on Saturday, and he said he can't wait to see the game on the brand new television, which I concur. Now, do they still have picture-in-picture? And that was a big deal for a while. This is a big fancy TV. It's a smart TV. It's supposed to be smart. Do you think it could show picture-in-picture? I don't really know. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. It seemed to have come and gone pretty quickly. So when he mentioned that both games were on at 1 o'clock this week, I was like, oh, what are you going to do? We'll figure it out. Worst comes to worst, one of us can go into the bedroom and watch on the tiny little television in there. So the AMAs, the American Music Awards, this Sunday night, Taylor Swift will be named Artist of the Decade. And if you haven't been following along, she has been given permission to perform her own songs so she can do a medley of all of her hits while she is accepting the Artist of the Decade award. How sad would it be if she was named Artist of the Decade and she could only sing songs from an album that was released just this past year? I think it's pretty sad that she has to have permission to perform her own songs, which I'm sure is what she's very upset about herself. There's all kinds of legalities involved and all of that kind of stuff, but the record company has granted her permission to perform these songs for this particular event. So I'm looking forward to that. Just catching up on my voice episodes where she was the mentor to the contestants on The Voice. So I was watching a little bit of that yesterday. It's getting me involved in this show, which I didn't really want. So I've got about 5 episodes still because it's on twice a week. So we'll see if I keep following along with it. I think there's one more episode with Taylor Swift in it, and after that, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with it. We shall see. So have you seen the promos for the movie Richard Jewell? Do you remember him? He was the security guard at the Olympics in Atlanta when they discovered a bomb, and then he actually ended up being accused of planning the bomb, which he was then later cleared, but he kind of just had this reputation after that. Because people forget the outcome, they just remember the accusation. And I even had to look it up myself when I saw the promos for this movie. I was like, oh, did he do it or did he not do it? And I had to look it up. So I certainly remember that he was accused of doing it. So this looks like a really good movie, and there's some real heavy hitters in this one, including Sam Rockwell. And he's not the only one. I can't remember some of the other ones right off the top of my head. But this is the time of the year when so many good movies come out. They are award caliber movies because they all try to get them in by the end of the year so that they can be in contention for the Oscars. Another movie, not sure if it's going to be in contention for awards. Could, may not. Could go either way. Frozen 2 in theaters now. It actually opened last night. So is that something you're going to be seeing over the weekend? Are there some little tykes in your life that are going to force you to go? It looks like it's going to be pretty good. I did see the first one. I think I only saw it once. And you know how I am with just seeing a movie once. If I saw it once, that means that I really don't remember it. I remember parts of it. But they're all saying that it's as good, if not better, than the second one. Or, excuse me, than the first one. They tend to do that when they're trying to hype a movie. But we shall see. So lots of good things going on. It is the holiday season. We are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving next week. It's only going to be a 3-day work week next week. That is something to look forward to. So since it is Thanksgiving week coming up, I thought I would ask you for today's topic. Do you enjoy Thanksgiving, or do family dynamics make it difficult? Like back in the day, we always fought every holiday, whether it be whose job it was to put the biscuits in the oven, who was going to clean the dishes, who was in each other's way, all of this kind of stuff. I didn't really think of it as not enjoyable, but yeah, there was always some sort of fight that was taking place. The last couple of years, actually, since I've been married, most Thanksgivings I have spent with my husband's family, and I will be going to my sister-in-law's house this year. Yes, it has been determined I will be bringing the green bean casserole. I do not mind. I love green bean casserole, and this way I know that it will be made in a way that I will highly enjoy it. So Jim says, I enjoy every holiday, Thanksgiving included. Family dynamics do make it more difficult sometimes, but I still enjoy them just the same. That is the attitude to have. Marcy says, I enjoy it for the second year in a row. I'll be with my exes, with my kids, so we can all be together with my son who is home from college. Life's short. We sometimes have to leave the past in the past and look forward. Yeah, that's great, Marcy. Very evolved. My parents couldn't be in the same room together. They couldn't even talk on the phone together. It was crazy. Lauren says, it depends on who I'm spending it with. My dad's family, I avoid. They make me feel like I have absolutely no value. That's what I'm talking about. So, yes, stay far away if possible. Kim says, my mom has passed. We go to my mother-in-law's now. It's all fake. We are the black sheep of the family. Kim, I'm so sorry. I hope you have your own little Thanksgiving dinner for just you and your nuclear family afterwards. That way you can just, force feed yourself. That's what, when we first started going to other people's houses for Thanksgiving dinner, I used to hate it because, I really just go to town. I just shovel the food in. And I won't do that in front of other people. But last year, Joe and I stayed home, just the two of us. And I remember joking about it on the air last year at the radio station that since it was just going to be Joe and I might just sit around in my skivvies and just shovel food in. I might not even use a fork. People seem to get a kick out of that. Now, Linda says, I just love it. We start our family day at the Philadelphia Thanksgiving Day Parade. I went to the Thanksgiving Day Parade quite a few years ago. It was a while ago. And I've often thought of going back. And every year I give it a little bit of thought, and then I nix it for whatever reason. I don't think we're going to be able to go this year. I don't think Joe would really want to go. He probably would if I really wanted to. But I don't know if he would want to go down there and deal with the crowds and the traffic and all of that kind of stuff. But I love a parade. I love parades. But we have the Christmas parade coming up the weekend after Thanksgiving in Ship Bottom, which I always enjoy. Ann says, I enjoy it. I provide the frozen turkey and some desserts, and my sister cooks at her house. That sounds like a win-win. Megan says, I enjoy it. It's really just my family and my sister. Joe says, I always love Thanksgiving no matter where I am. Well, Kathy says, we don't spend holidays anymore with my husband's family, just mine, and we all get along fabulously. I love my two sisters.